Hey, what's going on out there, YouTube family? This is Samuel Legger here representing Team JVS. I'm back here again for another movie review. Now, I've been away for a while for obvious reasons. I just had my second child. Very happy, but very sleep deprived and worn down. But I'm here nonetheless because I had the luxury before I actually had my son of being able to check out the movie Werewolves Within. Now, this is based on a Ubisoft game that released around 2016 that basically kind of was more of a mafia-esque like Clue, where you have like the whodunit, like who is the monster, who is the person that's, you know, lying, who is the person that's telling the truth, and trying to gauge what that is on a basis that what is going to happen, you know. And this was actually written by Mishna Wolff and directed by Josh Ruben. Josh Ruben, if you know College Humor, he's awesome at comedy. And this is an interesting cast, and I was just fortunate enough to watch it. So let's go ahead and kind of break it down. In terms of the way that this was shot, the cinematography was actually really good. The jump cuts and the edits were really well paced, like from just the introduction to the small town to the location and the backdrop. There were certain moments where I was kind of like, it was a little kind of like risque and kind of cliche when you get to some of the things that were happening within the actual hotel with the different people that were communicating. But a big part of that was trying to figure out who done it. One of the things I loved about Knives Out is there's random characters that just, their banter and their conversation is the most meatiest things about it. But yes, there's, at the end of the day, there's a real mystery there. The difference with this one is that at first I was kind of like, oh, this is a comedy. But no, this is actually horror / comedy. And I love the mix of blended genres in this one because the movie itself is shot really well. Like, it looks really beautiful. The soundtrack, it actually works and blends very well also, where there was some very dark moments, and there's also some very gory moments that I was really surprised by. Now, the things that I felt like were really interesting when it came to the cast is that everybody, for the most part, knows comedy. They, the main character, Finn, played by Sam Richardson, I just saw him in a movie called The Tomorrow War. She does a really good job there as well. And kind of you get introduced to him that he's kind of, you don't know whether he's in a breakup situation. You just know that he's the person of law enforcement that's going to the town to investigate some situations going on with the pipeline. He's trying to just kind of make provisions for the town. And lo and behold, there actually ends up being a murder. And he's trying to do what he can to try to navigate that. Now, the weird thing about Sam Richardson and his character is that he's kind of like a goody two-shoes. Like, he doesn't try to put himself in any situation. And at the same time, he does put himself in harm's way. But it's weird because, like, a lot of things that are messed up that are happening, he kind of is really calm and collected. So he's a calm soul, but he's just a nice person. And that plays into your pondering, is this niceness a trigger, or is this something else that we just don't know? What I mean by a trigger is that every single person that you're seeing and interacting with, whether it's townspeople, whether it is a couple, you don't know if they're guilty or not. And you're continuously kind of gauging, are these good people? And the funny thing about it, and I talked about this, I was actually able to interview the cast and the director, is that I came to the realization that every single character in one way, shape, or form could be considered a werewolf. And I don't mean just a literal werewolf. I mean, like, metaphorically speaking, like, they could be a dangerous person. They could be somebody that you don't want to cross and you don't know what they're truly capable of. And I think that's where the enjoyment side of this, from the comedy horror aspects of it, do work. And like towards the third act, it gets really dark. And I was really pleasantly surprised by how dark it actually got. And also, like, I think it gets funnier progressively, because in the early parts of it, it was kind of like, this is funny here or there. Oh, I like this character here or there. But then other characters kind of get left to the back burner. But you can tell there's some underlying things that are written or thought about for each character. And I think specifically, I talked to Harvey Gullin about his character, and, you know, just kind of getting the gauge of like him, his character and his partner, and getting the backdrop. Like, there's actual meat there that was thought about even though this is based on the 2016 VR game that's basically like Mafia. So off of those merits alone, I think you can have a lot of fun with this film. Do know there are some cringy moments. Do know that this not like an Oscar-worthy thing. And as far as like the practical effects, I think they do rely on that very well. And I think that the practical effects do work, but it's not anything too splashy. Don't expect this to be like a gore fest or like, you know, you seeing all the most elaborate kind of shots. I think that you're just gonna see something that is fun, it's well edited. Think kind of like Guy Ritchie meets Edgar Wright with a little bit of splash of something else, of comedy, that dark comedy. Think Death at a Funeral. Not necessarily the UK version, but the American version. Blend those three together, and I think you got something that's very interesting. I think that for the niche that they're going for, I think that it can actually be a really enjoyable time. I'd rest this at like a 7 out of 10. I actually did have fun with it. I wouldn't mind checking it out again, because there were things that happened in this that I was like, how did I miss this? And also, they play with something very towards the end that I was upset about, you know, in hindsight. But I was kind of like, did I know this or did I not? And I think that that's the fun part. So you just definitely tailor expectations ahead of time before going and checking out this film. But I think if you do, I think you can have a lot of fun with it. So I'll talk to you guys later on. Definitely go and check out our interviews with the cast. And I think we might have some more interviews to come. So I'll talk to you guys later. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Definitely go and check out Werewolves Within, coming July the 2nd. I believe possibly on demand, but possibly might have a theatrical run as well. Peace, guys.
Are we really in a Mexican standoff right now?
Baby, don't say Mexican. Just stand up.